Welcome back to Armchair Author Chats Season 2. I'm so excited we are back again today. How is the spring coming for you? Are you sick of the snow? I am. Well, I know someone can help spice things up. Our my favorite dear friend, Shannon, Esty Houston, author. Let's bring her on. Let's not waste any more time.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you? Beautiful.
Good. It's like a weird back end I'm seeing here.
I know.
But
Well, at least we got the stream thing to work properly this time around.
yeah, right.
We
Right.
had a lot of practice last season. So welcome to the show, Shannon. How are you doing? How have you been?
Good. Everything's been super busy right now because I do have a Kickstarter going, and we're like $7 away from hitting the next stretch goal of 2,000. And so, yeah, I was really excited to see that from last night. It didn't happen. I saw it this morning when I woke up that it happened last night.
I'm
But
so excited to talk about this too. So let's start with this latest book, A Curse of
okay.
Being in Gems, correct?
Yes, correct.
And how would you pitch it in one sentence? Because we want
Oh my
everyone to
gosh.
go to this Kickstarter because, y'all, she's one of the most prolific writers. Great books. Okay, I'm gonna let you go.
It's hard for me to pitch it in one sentence, but I did from my readers, I asked them to like point out when I have my beta, my alpha readers. This is one thing I would suggest for anybody who has these types of readers, right? Ask them to highlight, point out, comment on whatever passages or sentences they come across that really would work for marketing, and tell them that you're going to use it for marketing, because that's what I did. And then so I get all these great passages I never thought of. So the one that I came across right before I set my Kickstarter up, I didn't even remember it until like the night before my Kickstarter. I was like, oh, this has got to be at the beginning of my Kickstarter. And so I put it on an image, and it's the, what does she say? She's forced to marry him to save him. No, to save him, she's forced to marry him. To save herself, she's forced to betray him.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So, what was the spark that set this next installment in motion?
So I've always really liked fairy tales, and this one is inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. There's actually a little bit of Greek mythology influence in there too. My sea witch is actually a mixture between the sea witch from this story and Scylla from
Ooh.
Greek mythology. So yeah, she's kind of a combination of both of those. And so I've always really liked it, but I always wanted something different. I mean, I'm not like a strong, like die-hard feminist, but I always thought this idea of her giving up her life because she wants the love of a man, I always thought, well, sure, I mean, that could be part of it, but not all of it. There has to be more. And so, yeah, so my characters always have some type of something going on in their past. Stuff, they have stuff that's happened to them. And
Right.
so I don't curse, so I take the other word. Yeah. And so they always have to face like adversity, which is the story, to become a better version of themselves. And for her, she actually has magic that is destructive, and not only is it destructive, she also feels pain. And the only way to not for it not to be destructive and for her not to feel pain from her magic is to hold completely still. So she's been holding still for 200 years. And when her dad is trying to sell her, and she's a mermaid, trying to sell her in marriage in order to kill one of his rivals, because that's what she would do, she killed her mother by mistake. Then she decides that she's done, and she goes to the sea witch to be able to bargain to be, to get rid of her magic. And just so happens that the first thing that the sea witch wants as part of the bargain happens to be in his land, the dragon king that she's been attracted to for a long time. And she has to go and steal this artifact from him, and then he's got his own curse that chooses her as his next bride, and if he doesn't marry her, he'll die. So
Oh my, this is amazing. So, those characters already feel so real to me. But where do those influences come from? Uh, do you base them on any traits of people you might know? Not that anyone's walking around like Sea Witch or anything. That's obviously much more fantastical in nature, which is beautiful. But I feel like you can find similarities in sometimes human nature. So could you say anyone was taken from like their personality traits in any of your characters?
for this book, the feelings that come from their own. So the best way to say it is trauma, but I was having a conversation with Michael Evans, who is, you know who Michael Evans is, and he used to be part of Ream, but he's not part of Ream anymore. And he's now the owner of Author Sidekick, which has a YouTube channel. But I was having a conversation with him right before my Kickstarter because we were trying to figure out how to do my copy. And he said, don't use trauma because that like turns people off.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I don't know what else to say, but I would say like the feelings and that gut feeling, like that gutted feeling from having these different types of traumas, I pull from my own life. Now their traumas are not necessarily my traumas, but I can pull it from my own life. So I would say most of that, most of that's from, I mean, because even to the point like Edmar, he's all about, this is the male character, he's all about duty and doing what's right and logic. And that was me growing up. I was like, I followed the rules, I didn't break the rules, I did exactly what I was supposed to do, you know. So.
Well, and then the characters seem like they take on a life of their own as you write,
Oh, yeah,
even from
definitely.
like trauma-based experiences. Would that be in alignment, you think?
I'm not sure if I quite understand the question.
Taking their own, like taking on a life of their own, like the character once maybe you've pulled from the trauma from something in your own life, but did it as you're writing the character, like does he like start taking on this whole identity of his own from that base of trauma?
Oh yeah, definitely. Everything's just a base, and sometimes it's just like a very small portion of what's me. So, and then I develop them into their own characters for sure. Yeah.
Nice. So writing can be a wild process. Do you have any quirky habits, routines, or must-have rituals when working on your book? I know I asked you this last time. Or some.
I don't even know what I said last time. And I don't really have any weird stuff.
You're so diligent and prolific, though, as a writer. Like, I'm in your streams fairly often enough where you're just you're just really good at being on top of getting your work done. Like, I love that. How do you get there?
Well, have you heard of Becca Syme with her Clifton Strengths?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've taken the Clifton Strengths in my top 5. Your top 5 is like what your strong points are. And basically all of my top 5, the combination means I'm the person that gets things done. So
I love that. Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't begin to tell people how to do it because I'm not sure. Not sure if I understand my own mindset to explain it.
Yeah. Kind of goes back to like your like a personality trait versus how you work as that personality trait, right?
Yeah.
Because I know like sometimes for me, I will get just really chatty and veer off like a butterfly, just get nothing done. But if I just go in with the blinders and just barrel into it, maybe I can get it done. But then it's like I'm antisocial.
I think some of it is trial and error. And yes, we were talking about this, that it depends on what your goals are, right? So I do love the community, and I did spend some time in the beginning of my channel building a community and doing online sprints where I was on the screen all the time, and I would bring people on and we'd sprint together, and it was very, very social. And that was great, but I barely got things done. And so when I found out, like, end of 2022, end of 2023, I'm like, I'm not happy with the level of writing I'm outputting, then I need to change something. And so I've slowly changed things until last year I hit my stride of what worked for me.
I love that. So. That's great. So what's the most rewarding or most challenging part of writing A Curse of Wing and Gems?
Oh, Lord. That book was a pain in the patootie. Yes, it was. When I first started it, I knew that Edmar was going to be like this good guy. He's going to follow the rules. He's going to be all about taking care of his kingdom. I knew of his brothers. He was like the most sane because they're 1,000 years they've lived with a curse where they've been made to marry over and over and over again. They never get to choose their wives and then watch her die. And I figured he was going to be like the most level and level-headed. And when I started writing him, I was just so freaking bored by him. And I was like, oh, yes, I was a boring person. I still am a boring person, but that's a boring person. So I was like, I had to do something. And it shook up my entire thought process for my book because it was headed in one direction. And then I realized, okay, that's not going to work because I'm bored by him. If I'm bored by him, my reader's going to be bored by him. So I had to shake him up. And then so the next hard part was that he has a negative decline in his character arc. So it's a negative character arc. And he gets to a point where I lost a critique partner over it because she hated him. And I tried to revise and revise and revise to kind of, show like the emotional process that he was going through to get to the point where he was at low point. Because Emmy ends up betraying him. She steals from his kingdom, runs away after their wedding, and runs away with his best friend. Not that there's anything between her and the best friend, but the best friend has his own agenda and things that's going on, nothing to do with her personally. So, but all he knows is that she ran away with his best friend and stole from him. And
naturally, he's gonna be like,
yeah. So he kind of loses it.
Sure. Yeah.
And that part has just, I eventually just had to tell my critique partner, I was like, I think this might not be the right project for us to work on together. That's what I said. I told her, I said, I'm demotivated by your comments, which I don't want that for us. And then she got mad at me and we haven't talked since. So, yeah. And she was my friend for years.
So that could be the most challenging part for sure when we start to bring in partners on a project. So did anything about the story surprise you along the way?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say it's the story itself. What surprised me were the readers who did connect to it. So my first book, almost all of my readers loved it. The ones that work with me on my books. With this one, there was a good like 60% of them who didn't really get into the story. And if they did get that far, they didn't really like him. But those who got that far did end up finishing. But the ones like, of those that finished, like almost all of them, they ended up really loving it. They were really concerned about whether or not there was going to be an HEA, which I kind of actually like that, the happily ever after, because when you read a romance, you're thinking, oh, happily ever after has to happen. That's what makes it a romance. So it's kind of cool to see their thought process as they're going through the chapters. Like, how are they going to come back from this? Where's the HEA going to happen? I don't see how this is going to work. And I'm like, oh, this is good then in a way, because that means that it doesn't feel like it's guaranteed, even though it is guaranteed. So, and it just surprised me how much the readers who did like it, how much they really love this book. So compared to my other ones.
I love that. And I'm a fan of HEA for sure. So.
Although I have to say, I do not love this book as much as my other ones. It's probably my least favorite. So it's kind of weird that my readers like it better. Yeah.
Oh, dive into that a little bit. Why would you think? Why? Okay, why?
Why? Maybe because I think it's because of the struggles I've had with it, that I lost a friend over it, that it's taken me 2 years to get this thing written and revised and whatnot. And I still feel like it could maybe be better. I don't know. I mean, I think we all feel that way about our work. We could always make something. We could continue revising. So I think because of all the troubles it gave me, it's my least favorite. And then, Edmar, even though he does come back from, he has a negative character arc and it does come positive again. I think he's not still my favorite character. My Zane, my character from my next book, is like my favorite character so far. So.
Yeah, that's understandable as to why it would be the least favorite, definitely. So publishing can be a roller coaster. What's been your biggest wow or what just happened moment in your journey so far? And we want to mention that you are releasing The Curse on Kickstarter?
Yeah, Curse of Wings and Gems is on Kickstarter. It's already there. So it actually closes in 11 days. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we want to go and back that. So is publishing on Kickstarter, why did you choose to do it that way instead of direct to retail?
Yeah, so my first series is a fantasy trilogy, Irish mythology set in 3rd century Ireland. There's actually no niche for it. There's no category for it on Amazon. I didn't realize this until after the series was done. And I'm $4,000 in debt. At least I was a year ago. I have not gone back through and figured it out. I'm sure it's probably a little less because I don't spend any money on promos anymore. So, and I still make money off this series. But the last I had checked it, I was $4,000 in debt. I was making money off of it. I was going to be 83 years old before I paid it off. And I thought, well, I'm never going to stop writing. That's just part of me and my soul. But I can't continue in this publishing model. I need something different. And so my goal was, well, I'll try Kickstarter. And if this is still not a good idea, if I'm not hitting what people are looking for, if I'm not writing what people want, and I'm not getting supported, then I'm not going to worry about publishing anymore. So, or if I was going to publish, it was going to be very like low expense rate. And I still did other things to get away from spending so much money, because the biggest thing for me was editor. So I would say like $2,500 or the 4,000 was my editor for the whole series.
Yeah, the
So
editor is just always one of the bigger expenses I've found
yeah.
as well. Absolutely. Yeah, it's because of you, my friend, that has convinced me, and Devin, that have convinced me to release through Kickstarter on my next book as well. And I'm excited to see how that journey, and I'm enjoying watching your journey on Kickstarter as well, and what it takes to release the book on Kickstarter. It's so much involved. Like, you just,
Yeah.
it's not
It's a
like
lot of
you
work.
just slap it on there, you know, once
No.
it's done like you do in retail, it's all just slapped on the wall and you did it.
Mhm.
And there's just so much more
But
engaged.
what I would say is, it's like when you're learning a retailer platform for the first time, you have to learn it for the first time. The next time you do it, it's a little bit easier. So I think it's the same in that respect, that you have to take time to learn it. It's a little bit easier next time, but the time dedicated to learning it up front is more than what you would learn for Amazon. Especially Amazon's really easy, but Barnes and Noble was harder. Kobo, those are all harder, but not to the level of Kickstarter. But however, what you're doing is you're getting that proof up front that your concept is going to work. So, and of course, being paid up front too, without putting out all the expenses.
It's a nice incentive.
Yeah.
So let's dream big. If this book was turned into a movie or TV show, who would you cast as the lead?
You asked me this last time too, and I don't know what else to tell you.
Girl, you had a
I don't know
whole
if you,
season to think about this. Just
I
kidding.
know, but I cannot imagine my books as a movie, to be honest. I
Oh my gosh, I can totally imagine them as a movie. Are you kidding? Oh, they're so good. Oh, goodness. Who would I put as the Sea Witch? Now I'm going to have to think about this. I should have had some guesses for you.
I should share. So when we hit the first tab window, cancel. We don't have time probably. Okay, so I got some artwork done for the Kickstarter. And then just for my own like self-fulfillment, wish fulfillment, I found this artist. It was a little too late after I had already commissioned other people. That his primary thing is he loves doing sea monsters and things in the sea. And I was like, oh, I want to see my Sea Witch, because my Sea Witch, like I said, it's based on Scylla and the Sea Witch from the stories. But I also made her part metal because of her backstory, and her adoptive father was the metal god. And I thought, oh, I love the artwork, so beautiful. And I thought, if I can make this a part of my Kickstarter, I'm going to. So I made it the first stretch goal, which we already hit. So I've already shared it with everyone. But the Sea Witch, oh my gosh, I'm gonna see if I can share it. It's just gorgeous. Okay, if I can share it to you. And then I don't know if you can share that to your audience. Can you see it? Is it on screen? No. I don't know if it's on the YouTube side. Oh, here it is. I see it on the back end here. I'm not hearing anything.
So beautiful. Oh, see, now I moved us around.
It works.
It works.
Oh, yeah, I can see it there. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's so pretty. Oh, my goodness.
And he asked me, he was like, is she supposed to be pretty or monstrous? I'm like, well, she's monstrous, but she used to be the prettiest mermaid. So
I think there's a total ethereal vibe of beauty there, even if she is a monster, right?
yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and she's terrible. I mean, she kind of essentially kills Emmy at the end of the book. And Emmy's like dying, and she would die. She has an injury that would kill her, but the metal god saves her. So until they can find a way to bring her back. So
wow, gorgeous. Okay, so what's next for you? Can you give us a sneak peek? I want to hear more about the Kickstarter and how we can contribute so that you can meet your goals.
yeah, I mean, my basic goal was to hit the $1,000 and to get fully funded, and that would pay for my next book cover, which is done. So it's great. The Sea Witch I paid for out of my pocket. So I thought, well, if I hit the first stretch goal, that will pay for it. So it's paid for.
I love that. I love that. Oh, did I lose you? Let me see. Oh, I think we lost. I think we lost her. Oh no. Well, for more information, we're gonna give we're gonna put the links for the Kickstarter below in the show notes in the podcast, as well as the description below. You lost power. Oh, did I get you back? I think I have you back. Well, let's see if we can get her. Still have you frozen? Oh no! Arg! So we'll see if we can get her back in here. R.I.P. Richard cracking me up today. So if we can get Shannon, I'll give Shannon a minute to log back in if she can get back in. If not, the Kickstarter campaign is going for 11 more days. Be sure to go check it out. The link will be in the description box below and the show notes for the podcast. We're a little rusty today. I don't know. Kind of working on it. So thanks for bearing with us on the first show back in season 2. There's been a few bumps along the way this time around. But if there's some authors you want to hear from, put it in the chat box. Let us know, and we'll see if we can get some of your favorite authors on the show for this season. The Curse of Wing and Gems, you guys. She's an amazing author. S.D. Houston, thank you for being with us today. And that will bring us to the end of this episode for Armchair Author Chats. Stay tuned. We've got Devin Gambrell Clark coming up at the top of the next hour, and we will see you very, very soon. Oh, wait, did I get her back in? Are you there? I was just getting ready to clock you out. I'm like, I don't know if she's coming back.
I was trying. My computer took a while to boot back up. The power went out for a second and it shut everything down. So I had to turn it all back on and wait and get the camera set back up again. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You know, it's kind of funny that happened because there's been a lot of glitches trying to get season 2 moving and shaking. And I'm like, I have a feeling how season 2 of Armchair Chats is going to go this time around.
It'll work.
I know. So I was telling everybody to visit your Kickstarter, show some love and support. S.D. Houston, The Curse of Wings and Gems. I think it's 11 days to go, correct?
Yes.
And we don't want her to just meet her goal. We want her to surpass the goal like so big, you guys, because I don't know anyone who deserves it more. Do you want anything else to say about where to find you and your other books that maybe we can read and catch up on?
Yeah. So I'm also on YouTube under the pen name of S.D. Houston. And I mean, my books are on retailer platforms. There are a few things you cannot access without the Kickstarter, though. And there are 2 things that are in the Kickstarter that, well, one of them I'm really super excited for. So A Curse of Scales and Feathers is the first one in this series, is the first book. And there is another love story happening in the background with Lizzie and Bryn. And that one is actually my favorite story that I've written so far. I love their love story. And I don't sell it anywhere because it actually has spoilers for Curse of Scales and Feathers. So you can get it for $3 as an ebook as part of the Kickstarter. The other thing that I'm really excited about is, and I didn't come up with this idea, but I've evolved it, made it my own, which is called Faded Adventures Story Mail. And what that is, it's 6 months of you'll get a package in the mail. It's letters and different like clues and stuff. And it is a epic fantasy mystery romance. And it takes place in my same world. And I've always wanted to do something at this one. Like I have like this academy where different magic users from the different seasons come together in harmony. It's actually called the Academy of Harmony and Magic. And there's a student missing, and then you get to choose one of 4 characters that you follow. And there's an interactive component with online with the letters and everything that you get in the mail. And like I said, 6 months worth. And then you also have a love interest, depending on, whichever character you choose, there's a love interest for each character. So, and those go from like one love interest is like a second chance romance. Another one's enemies to lovers, kind of covers those tropes. So
There's also on the Kickstarter an opportunity to get a special edition hardback cover as well of The Curse of Wings and Gems. So make sure you guys check out all the tiers and go show some love and support. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being here. I appreciate you. I love you, adore you. My dear friend. Just see if my little hearts come up.
Oh, I love that. I don't think I could do that, can I? Probably not.
No.
Is it? Oh, look at that. It is.
Oh, it is doing it.
I didn't know I could do that. But I could do that. Well, it's not doing it again. Whatever.
Just authors being dorks. We love it. It's what we do. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Armchair Author Chats, my friends. All the description and show notes will have all the links that Shannon has mentioned, especially the Kickstarter. Go show some love and support. And until next time, we will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you again, Shannon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.